this game, reviewing it. Mirror's Edge Catalyst is the prequel game to the cult classic Mirror's Edge. It's a parkour game, or free running, if you like that term better. That makes more sense to you. But basically, your goals are to run certain places, beat up some certain people, and run other places, and then run somewhere else, and then run somewhere else. That's pretty much what you do in the game. Some of you might hear that and go, that sounds terrible. All you do is run? Well, yeah, kinda. I mean, yeah, there's combat, of course, but for the most part, yeah, you're pretty much running. You're running, you're climbing, you're doing parkour stuff. Think Prince of Persia, but you're in first person. I mean, there are some puzzle elements to it where you got to figure out exactly what you need to do in order to get up to a certain point. Or, you know, just the way to go about getting to where you're trying to reach. But for the most part, yeah, you're running a lot of the time, and that's pretty much what you're doing. I mean, you're jumping over things, you're climbing walls, you're scaling buildings, you're wall running, you're using your zipline thing to swing across ledges. That's new in this game. So, I love the first Mirror's Edge. It is one of my favorite video games of all time. After waiting 8 years for this game to come out, it couldn't just be good. It had to be great. And thankfully, in my opinion, it is. It's not the longest game, it's not the most fleshed out game, there's not a ton of things to do in it, but it feels like Mirror's Edge. I mean, it's what I wanted for this game to be like. It's what I wanted out of this game, and it's what it gave me. And so, again, me personally, but I absolutely adore this game. Let me start with the bad and then I'll get into the good. The first negative thing that I can say about it is that a lot of the missions are just the time trials, and I think that they're fun, but I wish that most of them weren't just that. You know, it's either deliver this thing to here or deliver this thing to here, and it might be a person, it might be a robot you're interacting with, it might be a little thing, a little stop thing that shoots out a little vial of something. I don't even know what that is. It's a lot of that, not a ton of variety, I guess, in that sense. But then again, it is a parkour game. That's what it is. That's what you're going for. That's what you're paying for, and that's what you're getting. So that's their whole idea behind it. I understand. It's just, I wish there was a few other things that I could have done. I mean, don't get me wrong. There are optional things. There are stuff like hacking billboards. There are things like collecting these little grid leak balls. There are all these side missions, but they're not that many, and most of the little side things you can do are time trial kind of runs. And they're fun, but there's just a lot of them. I think there's too many of them. My other issue is that there's some parts of the game where it's just way too dark to see anything. Like, that might be the point of, like, the level, but there's just parts of it that are dark, just pitch black. You can't see anything you're doing, and that's very hard in a parkour game when you're trying to climb up something. And no, it wasn't my brightness. I turned the brightness all the way up, turned the brightness up on my TV, I did all these things. It is like pitch black in some parts of the game. Very few, but some parts. Way too dark. Brighten that shit up, DICE. Throw in a patch or something, add a light. And I guess the game is a little short. It's not, but for me, I don't care about that. I'd rather have a short game that I really enjoy than a long game that just takes forever to do. I don't have the time or the patience to play a game that takes 50 hours to beat. So I would rather play a game that takes 10 or 12 if you mess around, or I think I'd probably put like 16 hours, 18 hours, somewhere around that into the game. And I'm fine with that. Like, that is more than I put into any other game, unless I have to beat it. But for the most part, that's all I want to do. The first Mirror's Edge is like 6 hours or 8 hours. That is my kind of game. I want the short game, so it might be a negative to you. It's not to me. I just thought I'd mention it. And the only other bad thing I can say is that they don't play the theme in the credits. Why would you not play the theme of your song, made by the band Churches, in the credits? There's also this one time when I let the game kind of sit for a little bit, and then I went back to it, and all the graphics were just messed up. Everything just looked like shit for some reason. So I just quit out of the game and then restart it, and everything was fine after that, but that was just weird, just a little thing I thought I'd mention. And also I think the combat is lacking a tiny bit. I mean, there are some cool moves you can do, but for the most part I just see myself kicking people in the head to the one side or the other. There's not a lot you can do with the combat, which is a little sad. I mean, of course you can run on the walls, jump off that, and kick them and do stuff like that, but it's just, after a while you pretty much do the same thing to take out enemies, and it's not the most interesting thing in the world. What I wish they would have done is maybe added more combos in the game. If they would have had combos that you can, you know, things you can trigger, like even just like an XYX, just anything like that, that would make something that was different rather than just the normal punches and kicks and stuff like that. But it is definitely improved combat from the first game, for sure. I mean, the first game, you just knock someone out, take their gun, and shoot everyone else. In this game, you can't pick up guns. You're just disarming people and fighting them with your hands, which I appreciate. I like that a lot more. And it's pretty good. It's just not, it's not the most in-depth thing in the world. But where this game does succeed is in everything else, and the most important stuff, which is the running, the fluidity of the movement of everything, the areas, the map. I mean, it's beautiful. The layout, the design of it all. It's all great. The acting, the voice acting is great. All the cutscenes are really well done. I love the story. I actually enjoyed this story for once. I mean, I usually don't enjoy video game stories. The first Mirror's Edge was an exception. This is another exception. I really got invested in this story somehow. The music is awesome. The visuals are awesome. The gameplay is awesome. Everything else besides my minor complaints work perfectly in this game, and I had so much fun just running around the city doing nothing. Now the map isn't huge. It is open world, by the way. I don't know if I mentioned that, but it is an open world game. The map isn't huge though, but you gotta remember, you're running everywhere, so it will take you a long time to get from one end of the map to the other. It feels big because you are so small, if that makes sense. There's so many things I haven't found still in the game, and I'm trying to get like 100% on it because I really do enjoy it that much. But it's hard to, because you don't know exactly where everything is. It's tough. I mean, it's actually, I'm sure there's so many areas I haven't even experienced, and every time I play the game I find a new area I've never been to before. But everything else is great. I mean, you know, getting to like hack a billboard, you go find a billboard, you look at it, you look up to it, and you're like, what's the best route for me to take here? And then you finally find it, and you take it, and you feel so proud of yourself, because you're like, I figured out the right thing to do. I am a genius. Now I'm going to hack you, Mr. Billboard. And then you do that. I mean, there's only 12 billboards to hack, but it was so rewarding to find out the right way to do things and to be able to accomplish those little goals that the game sets for you. It's a weirdly rewarding feeling, a very puzzle-like kind of feeling, and I enjoy all that kind of shit a lot. So I think it's enough rambling about Mirror's Edge Catalyst. You can tell I really liked it. I'm not going to give it a number score. I don't really do that, but I will say it's definitely worth buying if you were a Mirror's Edge fan. If you were a fan of the first one, go get this one. If you weren't a fan of the first one, I recommend going and buying the first one first on 360 or PS3 and play that, because it's obviously really cheap now. It's an older game. If you enjoy it, then go get this. But keep in mind, the old game, there's a little bit of a clunkiness to it, because it's not, they didn't have all the bugs worked out exactly yet. So just keep that in mind when you're playing it. But it's an amazing game. I love it. Still one of my favorites. I still would probably even put it over this, just because it's so straightforward, and I like that about it. Like, the first one's very straightforward. It's very level 1, level 2, level 3. It's that kind of thing. The cutscenes are done with like this cartoon kind of comic book style, and I really enjoyed that. So I'm still gonna have to say that I like the first one a little bit better, but this is a prequel. I mean, this comes before, and it answers a lot of questions. It really shows you the world that you'd want to see of Mirror's Edge, and I do appreciate how I can explore in this one, but I appreciated the straightforwardness in the first one. So you get what you get either way. Tomato, tomato. It doesn't really matter. It's just whatever you prefer in a game. If you like open world stuff, you might like this one more, but I prefer the straightforward kind of story thing. Anyway, that's all I got for this video. Definitely go pick this game up if you have not, or at least rent it at Redbox or something or somewhere, and just try it out, because I think that you might enjoy it a lot. I know that I did. I think the reviews are somewhere in like the 7.5 to 6.5 kind of range. I would put it way higher than that. That's just me. I'm a really big Mirror's Edge fan. I have a bias, so that's fine. If that's what people want to say, that's cool. But for me, it's the perfect kind of game for me. So, whatever. I loved it. And that's pretty much all I have to say. So thank you so much for watching. Like this video if you liked it, please. It helps my videos get pushed up in the search ranks whenever someone searches for Mirror's Edge, I guess, for example. So that is actually very helpful if you just click the little thumb. I will love you forever. And of course, subscribe if you like games and geeky stuff, because that's kind of what I do on this channel, and that's pretty much what I'm going to be doing for a long time. So subscribe and we can hang out. It'd be great. So anyway, just tell me if you've played it before, if you've played the first one or the second one, or tell me if what I said has convinced you to try them out. Probably not. Tell me anyway if I did, and I'll see you guys in the next video. What are you doing, Kendall?
Huh?
What are you doing?
I came to tell you a funny story.
Okay, can you literally give me 5 seconds?